All right, it works.
We did it!
It works. I was going to double check our audio really quick, but I'm sure it's fine. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I know I forgot to change the timer settings. I learned that very suddenly.
We did, but we are here now.
We are professionals.
We're here and we're balling.
And we have a PowerPoint party.
A power.
What did I do? I remember changing that.
Woo!
Hi, Nebula.
Woo! Hey, Nebula, how's it going? Are you cooking anything cool?
Yo, hang on. We're fixing it live on screen.
Go for it. Go for it.
I
Oh, look
kind
at
of
that.
like our PowerPoint.
Okay.
PowerPoint sounds like a great show.
PowerPoint.
PowerPoint!
Never mind. It's there forever now. You saw it for a minute.
Oh my God. There it is.
This is
Professional.
Glorious.
behind the scenes.
Glorious.
Yes. Is everybody ready for their cool? Also, turn off the corner scrollers.
What happened to this what'd you do to this screen, dude? What happened in the last week? The screen was totally fine last week. What the hell happened?
I mean,
We have
No advertisements. We don't get any. No hero points.
they're only advertisements for us, but
And
yeah.
you know what? PowerPoint party. There it is.
Yeah.
You're on the wrong scene collection. He literally did tell us. I remember he sent us an thing and everything.
Well,
Yeah. I read your thing and I did the right things. So anyway, hi everybody. Welcome.
Nebula has a baked potato and salad. I did make tempura chicken nuggets and sweet potato last night.
Tempura chicken nuggets does sound pretty good.
That sounds
Sweet
pretty
potato
bomb.
sows really good. I love sweet potatoes.
He didn't actually say. Oh yeah, sweet potatoes. Yeah, there they are right there.
Are you questioning me?
Yes, I was actually. Yeah.
Are you questioning me?
Her and Nebula, dude. Two women you're gonna question?
Wow. This is a great start to our presentation day. Where
Dare
we're
I
supposed
trust
to
my
be-
lying eyes?
We're supposed to be supportive.
PowerPoint presentation about MTG Layers Go. No, I did something else more fun.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'll be so honest. This is a spoiler, I guess. My thing is not about Magic the Gathering in the slightest.
So
was.
disappointed.
If I went over anything in Magic the Gathering that's not just the lore, it'll be the most boring PowerPoint I could possibly make.
I don't know who could possibly try to get away with making a PowerPoint about some kind of systemic game system.
That'd be insane.
What a nerd. Who would do that?
I had to think really hard about what I wanted to do with PowerPoint because I know very little about a whole lot of things. And so it makes it really poor for PowerPoint presentations. I was like, do I know anything? I was trying to think of any PowerPoints that I could give a thing. And I was like,
You know one thing.
You do know one thing.
You know at
Yes.
least one thing.
You know at least one thing. A professional, one might say.
yeah. So I did make a PowerPoint. So I am here. I did show up. I didn't call in sick and say the dog ate my homework. So that's pretty good.
I'm proud of you. That dog was nowhere near that PowerPoint
Yeah.
presentation.
Yeah.
I was finishing my PowerPoint on the drive over. Let me tell
Yeah.
you.
Really?
Nick is called efficient. He does things exactly when he needs to do them.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And certainly none of us went and worked on this during company time. I promise you that.
Let me tell you what. I really did not.
That is a thing.
And just because just in case any of my bosses who decided to be supportive today have joined, they're lying.
There was no working on PowerPoints during company hours.
No, only for company PowerPoints is what was worked on.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's
Very
right.
important company. I mean, it's a good thing you worked all morning on that stuff because it was important to the company.
It was crucial that I worked on that PowerPoint presentation, which will be presented at some point to them, for sure.
Yeah.
And I definitely have PowerPoint installed on my or on my computer at my office. That is guaranteed.
I was actually thinking, Link, about doing a PowerPoint on all of the horrible movies that have come out and what happened. Like, I was thinking about doing one on just like the Minecraft movie and then just like book adaptation. There's so many ones where you could like pile them all together and just be what happened.
I would counter that with a PowerPoint about all the best movies that have come out in the last couple of years, because there have been bangers these last few years.
Well, it's not about a few years, but I mean like adaptations.
Yeah.
Because how many good adaptations are there? Not very many,
So,
but there's
I'm
a
gonna-
lot of
No,
bad
I'm
ones.
gonna confess, I did enjoy the 1990s Super Mario Brothers movie. I really liked that as a kid.
I liked it. I like steampunk.
Yeah.
I
Never
like cyberpunk.
It was like a
That's kinda what it was.
cyberpunk, like, and it was tangentially Mario
Yeah.
related, but I actually really enjoyed it.
I like Daisy in that movie.
I took up some funny time.
That's enough of that sentence.
We all,
Anyway,
we all
moving
have
on.
an awakening.
I didn't I didn't see the movie.
It is not Mario at all, but it is so aggressively trying to be Blade Runner. It really wants to be Blade. But here's the thing about bad movies from the 90s.
I promise you we'll get to PowerPoints.
I'll get there soon, but this is a quick little tangent. It's even bad movies back then look a lot better than bad movies do now.
Oh, it's so
because
true.
if you watch the Flintstones Viva Rock Vegas, horrible movie.
That movie.
Debatable movie. but it even if you think it even if you are wrong and think it's a bad movie, it looks great. There's so many practical effects in it, and the sets and costumes are all on point. It is bad movies back then had effort put into them still to some degree. Not all of them, but a lot of them did.
Well, and also they had distinct flavor.
Mm-hmm.
So bad movies now are totally interchangeable. They have a different set of actors, but the feel is the same. The look, the colors are generally same. They could be one long movie and you probably wouldn't be able to tell. You just them actors would change shape every once in a while.
Change shape.
But honestly, we should do, these are great ideas, by the way.
Evolution of Jack Black.
Evolution of Jack Black, that would be a great PowerPoint. I was thinking so hard and I couldn't think of anything. I was like, gosh, I know so little. But that would be great.
Yeah, no, that would be a really good one. I think it would, although from what I can tell, Jack Black has basically been the exact same person for as long as I've seen him.
I got
wrong.
Yeah,
You know,
wrong.
Really?
Wrong.
I'm thinking Schoolhouse Rock and Tenacious D and The Pick of Destiny.
Those were phenomenal. They were such good movies. It was someone's passion project.
Well, this is entirely separate from whether or not the movie is good.
Well,
I'm just saying Jack Black
but
is a character.
even think of him in Mars Attacks. He's a very different person in Mars Attacks.
He was in Mars Attacks.
He's like a soldier that gets blown up immediately, but he has speaking lines in the movie. But it's think of Peter Jackson's King Kong, where he is a full character that's not being Jack Black. He's just kind of the comedy guy.
It's possible that I just don't think of any And actually, I take it back because what was that? Love Actually? Was that that movie?
I think he was in that.
He was in that, and he actually played a really. It was a really cool role. I actually liked that one.
Well, and even in School of Rock, he was a character that fit. He was the character in the movie instead of just being the trope.
Yeah.
So he was a character that was, I don't know, it made the movie. It made such a good thing. But
even Jack Black in Tenacious D is different than Jack Black now. That's still it's the evolution of what he was, but he's not the same as the Jack Black we think of that's Poe and Kung Fu Panda and stuff. These are very different Jack Blacks. I can't believe Jack Black is haunting me like a phantom. Because the last stream I was on also spent 20 minutes talking about Jack Black. I have to move on.
Dance to my puppet stream.
I simply have to move on. What is your stream? Or what is your PowerPoint? It's
my
gone.
PowerPoint, it's gone. I don't know. You do your Mac wizardry and get it back up.
There it is.
All right, beautiful. I took this opportunity to make a PowerPoint about a nerdy game system. I don't know who would do that.
It's on screen. They can see it now.
It is indeed. It is
it all
indeed.
They can see, or can
They see us too. We're at the bottom.
We had a whole conversation about that, actually.
It is big screen that we can't see it, so I'm describing what you're looking at currently. It is a big screen that is the thing. And
literally for Bryn's benefit and no one else.
Okay, sweet. I love it.
So I took this opportunity to educate about a long-standing hobby of mine that I've been playing for probably about over 20 years now. Oh boy.
Oh.
Man,
Yeah.
what have I done with my life?
You're dating yourself here.
What have I done with my life? Anyway, tell you what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to take this Just Chatting stream and hijack it to plug the Warhammer show that we're doing tomorrow.
Wow, natural plug again.
Who could have thought? Who could have thought I would do that?
So this is actually very helpful because, well, it probably will be because I trust Nick, and actually Nick is very good at explaining things. But I have been around a ton of Warhammer games, and I have never paid any attention because all I see is one person. Is there a book? It normally goes. This is like their Warhammer book. First of all, it's about 400 pages, and it's the size of an old-fashioned novel. It's a
and
they go
book.
like this.
It's like an old math book. That's like a textbook, actually.
There's two of them, and they go like this. The whole game.
Are you hiding the books from each other? Is that what you're trying to do?
Because they're on other ends of the table, and they both have to read. And every once in a while, they'll look up and see what the other person's reading, and then
trying to cheat over the shoulder.
And they're like, "Oh, is that what it says?" Well, in my book, it says. and then they'll go back to reading. And then every once in a
Man,
while...
I have the greatest picture at the end of this presentation. That is exactly that. I found it online and I was kind of like, this is it, man. This is it, this picture. Yeah, so basically, the idea of Warhammer 40k, yes, you can play it that way if you are someone who...
most people.
That's basically how 8th edition works now that I think about it. Nested rule sets, it was pretty insane. But we're up to 10th edition now, which is an edition I have never played.
Until tomorrow.
Until tomorrow. And I think Colby's maybe played it once. I don't know, Colby, you ever played this? Drop it in the chat if you played 10th edition. I'm fairly certain. Link might have spiked my pick. You have to tell me if it was right. But I figured I'd put together...
sending out pics.
Yep. I bet I'm gonna
Discord.
I put together a little presentation, talk about an intro to Warhammer. So the idea basically being that if you've never heard of this before, by the end of this presentation, you should know just enough to be able to follow along and enjoy tomorrow's show. That's the goal. There are no stat blocks in this coming up presentation.
Stat block. I honest to God know nothing about Warhammer besides that you rolled 6-sided dice.
I'm sorry,
and you
Starfinder player, if the stat blocks intimidate you.
No, I'm not dead, but I didn't know there's stat blocks in Warhammer. Because all I know about it is you roll a bunch of 6-sided dice and then you pull out protractors and hold them up to where the minis are. And that's all I know.
Yeah. I did actually forget about that part. Every once in a while there's a lot of measuring going on.
That's true. There's no grid in Warhammer. You measure things with inches.
Yeah.
Inches, my friend.
Yep.
Gross.
Inches. I suspect that the reason that they actually, I'm not sure if distance on a tabletop is something that the UK actually measures with inches, because there's some things where they go imperial and there's some things where they go metric, and then there's some things where they have weirdo measurements like stone. And I still don't know how heavy a stone is.
Yeah, stone is weight, isn't it?
Stone's weight, yeah. So you say something like a 15 stone person, and it's like, I don't know if that's big or not.
So in my mind, a stone's throw is one person. And then if you weigh 2 stones, you need 2 people to throw you.
You can throw a whole person?
No, but I'm saying somebody who weighs 1 stone could be thrown by 1 person.
I don't think that's.
So if
what
you
I
weigh
understand
15 stones, you need 15 people to huck this guy down a field.
That's not my understanding of how stone works.
Let me know how correct I am.
Hexy, help!
Yes.
Anyway, your presentation.
All right, into the presentation. Intro to Warhammer 40k, a game of toy soldiers set in a grimdark universe. In the grim darkness of the far, far future, there is only war. And there we go. So, going on, what is the setting like? Well, basically, it's everything turned up to 11. The Imperium of Mankind is a massive organization spanning the entire galaxy. It is cyclopeanly, unfathomably large, complicated, corrupt, and ineffective.
What is cyclopean?
What is cyclopean?
A word?
Yes, it's totally a word.
Cyclonic, I assume?
No, cyclopean. Cyclopean.
See, this is why we have you around, because you make us better as people.
It's got 1 eye.
Cyclopean. That's what I was
That's
saying.
what I think.
Okay, sorry, go on.
Sorry, generally it means really, really big.
Okay,
Sure.
sweet.
Sorry.
The more you know.
Well, thank you. I'm brushing off my SAT words here.
I see somebody's read a thesaurus.
Actually, I got that out of the Arkham Horror board game. That was totally an Arkham Horror board game word.
That's where Batman is. Anyway,
Okay.
go on.
Go on. Yes.
However, not all is roses in this incredibly vast, corrupt, ineffective bureaucracy, as you might admit. It is beset on all sides by aliens from without, demonic warp beasts clawing through the fabric of reality, and within, evil traitors seeking to gnaw away at the foundations of the Imperium, rotting it away from within, polluting it with vile ideas such as, that space fascism is a bad thing. We call them heretics. Exactly. The scales of the Imperium is massive, just like the scale of war is massive. Entire planets are frequently consumed in the firestorm of war. Entire populations fed to the war machine. All of this is the backdrop to the game of a couple dozen tabletop miniatures that we're going to move across there. Of course, you can indeed go ahead and play massive apocalypse scale games if you have literally nothing to do with your weekend and an equally devoted and or devoid of alternative friend who can go ahead and spend that time with you.
Is this the one they did in the South Park episode?
I don't know. I don't know about that South Park episode. They have a Warhammer South Park episode?
There's a episode where they're living on Randy and Stan and
You
his
can just tell me
family.
a yes or a no.
Yes, it's the Randy. The wife leaves. Randy throws parties, but Stan just wants to play Warhammer with his friend, and it takes an entire weekend to play.
I could see it. I could see it.
Not to interrupt as well, but there was something really cool. There was like a group of 40 Warhammer 40k people up in Gainesville, and they had like it was like, 5 versus 5, and they would do, it was like a storyline where they had sets of armies, and whatever happened in the previous game would go and affect the next game. And as a team, you would like win.
I may have participated in one of those
did you?
leagues. Yeah.
And then they would write up
fun.
a cute little thing on how the.
I may have written quite a number of
Yeah.
those.
It sounds cool, honestly. God,
It was so cool.
that's
So
pretty
like,
cool.
and it was super in depth. Everybody got really into it.
I have
And
like
the-
a little
Right.
mini novella of everything that happened during
Right.
one of those campaigns.
Yeah, and so they would
Like,
write it, and then the next person would read it, and they would have the next game, and they would hear what happened in the previous game, and it would affect how that game went.
Yep.
Because they would get bonuses or whatever it is, like, in the game. And that was super cool. I would absolutely recommend. I don't know. There was an extreme time.
My Tau army stole the STC template for a Geller field. Many of you have no idea what that
Words.
means, but some of
Words
you
just
do.
happen.
Many in this
And
room don't know what
those,
that
Yeah.
means.
and those of you who do know how awesome that was.
Man, I also can say acronyms.
Yes.
Well, anyway. The long and short of it is the Warhammer 40k universe is a terrible place to live. But if you do live there, it could always get worse. There's all sorts of terrible things that can happen to you. That's ultimately the grandest theme of the horrendously evil, corrupt, and crushing Imperium of Man, that everywhere else you would live is worse.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Yeah, better buckle down and make your tithe
Yep.
to the Emperor.
Okay.
So, let's talk about the hobby.
I love those guys.
At its
Yeah.
core, it's a game of toy soldiers. We got our little soldiers, and we're going pew, 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 pew. You gotta make those sounds sometimes. We are rolling dice. But of course, it's not just toy soldiers. We have a rule book. And the rule book tells us rules. And so it's not just, I throw a grenade and, I kill all those guys. And, you know, we actually have rules that determine how things go. Additionally, much nicer models than the Green Army men. Much
They are
nicer
really
models.
That's the commander deck you have.
Yeah, actually, I do have a commander deck of those guys.
That's my connection. I get that one.
Yeah, Corey sees it. It's like, oh, those guys, I hate them so much.
Yo, is that Magic the Gathering?
Yes, I'm Magic the Gathering. Oh my god.
Oh my god, they have that?
And of course, these nicer models, you build, customize, and paint yourself.
Is that your desk?
No, I found it online. I'm not sure whose desk that was, but I deliberately picked one that was messy.
I was gonna say, is yours as messy or organized as this? Like, is this compared to your desk? Is this organized or messy?
You know what? I'm gonna go and just post up a picture of my hobby
Okay,
desk,
okay,
and
good.
and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah.
see that it's actually not too terribly far off.
I thought this was yours. It's because I've seen before you moved, though. Before you moved, this is what your old one
It's
was
pretty
like.
close, yeah.
Yeah.
I added a rack with like little bins that I can
Oh,
use to
okay,
help
okay,
organize
okay.
stuff, but basically, yeah, this is
sweet.
what my hobby desk looks like. You still can't walk into my board game storage room without the risk of walking into Warhammer Minis. But it's called a hobby for a reason, because it's not just playing a game, you're also building an army, you're painting models, you're customizing kits, you're bashing together a bunch of different stuff to create unique things, and you know what? As long as you can say it fits a stat block, you can play with it, because ultimately, it's not just a board game, it's also a hobby. So, coming up with unique paint schemes and different ways of moving things around and kind of cool ways to explore and enjoy the setting is also part of
They
it.
have some like phenomenal videos online of painting
That are
minis.
way better than me.
They're incredible. So there's these people that paint them for like thousands and thousands of dollars, and they'll have like these. Some of the models are like chunky.
Yeah, I mean,
chunky
like some
models.
of them actually get
Yeah, like
they get big.
giant
They get
models.
big. Imperial Knights are like this.
Yeah,
and
they're
like
huge.
some of
and
them get bigger.
And they paint them. I mean, they look photorealistic to like fantasy world. It's phenomenal. So I would definitely, if you are interested in any kind of art kind of things, looking up the painting for those, they put in work.
Yeah, they've done
put in
some
work.
really good stuff out there. But enough about the general hobby. Let's talk about the basic concepts of the game. First is there's dice.
I know that one. I get that one.
There are so many dice. We'd use like the little tiny D6s because generally, like if you have a squad of 10 dudes and they're each shooting a rapid fire rifle that fires twice, you need 20 dice to adjudicate how well those shots go.
Gotcha.
And so if you have 20 dice, you can just roll 20 dice. But even if you're using like dice that are like this size, 20 dice is a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
But when you get little dice where an entire cube of them that fits in the palm of your hand is 36 dice, that's the right kind of size to use.
Do you have dice trays with like a magnifying glass over the top of them so you can roll like all of the dice and then see?
I mean, I just use my eyeballs, Corey.
I mean, sure, but I'm thinking it's gonna be a lot to keep having to go through and scrounge through them all.
No. Pattern recognition, my friend. Pattern recognition. You
That's
can
fair.
tell because the dice have different numbers of pips
Yes.
on each facing,
Okay.
and that's how you can tell what number you
See,
roll
I can't
on the
read,
dice.
so I just kind of go off of the vibes.
Well, that's the
I
cool
say
thing.
a number, then I see what happens.
That's the cool thing about the pips is you don't have to be able to read. You just count the pips, and that's how many. And they're in a different pattern too, so your brain can kind of figure them out. It's real easy. It's real easy. Don't let Corey intimidate you. It's really easy to go parse through 20 dice. Super
I'm just
easy.
intimidating.
You're
my
an
bad.
intimidating guy.
He is. He
I don't know
is.
what to tell you.
He's very tall, also, I have to say.
Thank you.
But so
Thank you so much, actually.
the other great thing about Warhammer is it's an excellent excuse to collect obscene amounts of dice.
That's true.
Absolutely obscene amounts of dice. And like if you thought like, you know, high level Pathfinder combat spells would require dice. Oh, no, my friends. No. You go and collect a Warhammer, a large Warhammer unit doing one thing can use so many dice, and it's glorious.
Is it taboo, like how it kind of is with TTRPGs, to use a dice calculator if you want to roll like 50 six-sided dice?
I mean, if you want to like deprive yourself of one of the most fun parts of the game.
I'm not saying I would. I'm asking for the people.
I mean,
I'm asking what the press will ask later.
I mean, I guess probably not in a tournament. If someone was like, I mean, if it was a friend who was just kind of like, you know, oh, my hands are frail and can't hold dice and my eyeballs don't work. And I mean, I'd be like, oh, sure, use your dice calculator while I make fun of you under my breath and to your
Okay,
face.
so it is taboo. It's what,
Oh, no,
it's what I'm
you
hearing.
can do it.
You can do it. You can
Look,
do it.
you can do it, but it's still taboo.
No, it's not taboo at all. No,
I can kick a puppy and it's taboo.
I've never-
but I can do it.
I've never seen anyone use a dice calculator.
Okay.
Rolling the dice and picking out the dice is some of like the most fun part. Is like it kind of tickles your brain a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's super fun. So lots of D6s. You only need D6s. There aren't any other kind of fancier dice. There used to be in the dark age of Warhammer. There used to be something called a scatter die, the mystical scatter die. It was a die. It was a D6 with arrows on it.
Oh.
And you'd use it if you were like calling in artillery because artillery wasn't exactly accurate, so like your shots could drift, and they got rid of that.
Yeah, that sounds complicated.
idea.
Oh man, I could tell you tales. Like you used to have to like for artillery, you'd have to guess the range in inches,
Oh.
and your shot would land where you guessed. And so like, and then you'd scatter it on top of that. And so artillery was like horrendously inaccurate unless you got really good at guessing.
Yeah.
I got pretty good
I
at
bet.
guessing.
I can imagine you
Yeah.
were like.
I am pretty good at guessing.
Yep.
But that's you don't need to do that anymore. You can measure anytime you want to
Oh.
now, and its artillery is just you just go. The skill of the model actually determines whether it hits, not the skill of the player.
Nice.
So they got
That's
rid of
always
that.
Nice. That is nice.
But just D6s are all you need for the 10th edition of Warhammer. Also, true line of sight. I found a picture of a guy kind of squinting down over the
I
back
do
of a
remember
model.
this.
Yep. So I'm sure Bryn has seen people kind of going down like this, trying to look behind. True line of sight. Your models can shoot what they can see. So you're gonna put your eye behind their head. It's a tradition to kind of get down and squint. But some people use laser pointers as well to kind of figure out what their model can see. And like, oh, can I get a glimpse of that guy? Oh no, he's behind. Sometimes it's easy if your guy's like got his face stuck behind a wall. He clearly can't see anything. But other times it's not quite as clear what they can see and what they can't see. So a model's eye view is a good way to tell what you're actually getting
Actually,
into.
I really like that. I think that's really cute.
It's
Yeah.
super
Because
cool.
There's not very many board games like that.
Yeah, and it really encourages you to kind of make sort of scenic terrain tables. Like get
right.
some ruins, get some hills, get some trenches, and kind of look and see how what your models are looking at. And it really helps to add to the sort of the cinematicness of the universe. Let's talk about the sequence of play. So when we say we're going through stuff tomorrow and we say we're in our command phase, you'll be like, what the heck does that mean? Well, you're gonna know by the end of this. So first off, play is organized into rounds. A round is each player taking a turn. And each turn's broken down into 5 phases: command, movement, shooting, charge, and fight. So going through it, it's gonna be my command phase. I'm gonna go to my movement phase, and you're gonna see me move some stuff across the table. And I'm gonna go to my shooting phase, and I grab my dice, and I go bop, 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 and we resolve how shooting works. And if things go wrong for me, Colby's gonna say I'm going into my charge phase, and his giant monster Tyranids are gonna charge into my Marines and start stepping on them. Well, the stepping on them doesn't happen until the fight phase, which is right after the charge phase.
This is so familiar now. I'm like, it's all coming back.
It's all
coming back.
And so movement, shooting, charge, and fight, those are fairly self-explanatory. We kind of breeze through them here. The command phase is kind of interesting and new. It's one of my favorites, actually. What's the command phase all about? Well, it's basically when commanders try to do their commandy things. So, leaders can rally their troops. Units who've taken large casualties aren't inclined to stick around on the battlefield. You have to take something called a battle shock test for them to stick around. If they fail that battle shock test, they're gonna become disorganized. You're not gonna be able to issue them complex orders. They're not gonna be able to focus on holding objectives. If they get driven back or if they fall back from combat, members of their unit could get lost in the retreat, either killed because they didn't fall back in a properly orderly fashion, or perhaps they get separated from their unit and wander off. Either way, they are no longer on the table or able to be a part of your unit. Units who are below half strength have to test for battle shock every turn, because when half of your good friends have been shot to pieces or eaten by monsters, it's hard to kind of...
Morale is down.
Yeah, morale is down, and you're gonna have to go ahead and try to rally the troops to come together.
Wait, what is it? Orcs don't have to do battle shock?
First off, this is 10th edition, which I've never played, so I don't know what the new rules are.
Okay,
but the way it used to work is that orcs would have their leadership value would be equal to however many models there were. And so like a leadership of like 12 meant you could never fail. And the orcs' normal mob size was 30. So you'd have to shoot orcs down to next to nobody left before they'd start to break and run.
I liked that about orcs.
Yeah. They're like, oh, I got more boys here. We'll be all right. Let's go get
we're
him.
Fine. Nobody liked him anyways.
That's great.
As long as they have friends, then they're good.
Tyranids are kind of special because as long as their monsters are within synapse range, which is sort of the web of psychic control, their hive mind goes and puppets its monsters with. Generally, they would basically be like fearless. Like you could never break them because their will was not their own. I don't know if it works that way now or if like you can still disorganize them. I imagine synapse, that's a big part of Tyranids. I imagine it still plays something, plays a piece. But battle shocked units become much less effective. They can still shoot and they can still fight, but you can't issue them complex orders, which means stratagems. And stratagems are something that are very powerful effects that you can spend strategic resources on to get a bonus to something that someone does. And stratagems can either be something fairly straightforward, like we're re-rolling a die, or it could be something like I'm going to cover this area and of a firing corridor, and I can interrupt someone's movement or charge action to shoot them as they come across it. Or it can be, there are army-specific stratagems that can be quite powerful, like the ability for say like an assassin squad of Space Marines to tactically pick out a commander hiding inside a unit and pick him out. And so that using these complicated stratagems, it costs something called command points. Command points, you start with 0, but every command phase you get 1. And these command points can be spent over the course of the game or saved up for use later. You can't use more than, I think, 1 stratagem per phase, I want to say. So you can't like blitz them all out right away, but command points are powerful resources, and you gather them in the command phase. Lastly, and this depends on what type of mission you're playing, but sometimes victory points are also scored from objectives in the command phase. Sometimes you score them at the end of the turn, though. So different things do different things. But the command phase is where all this cool little bookkeeping happens. And so that's the first phase of the game. You get all that bookkeeping done out of the way.
Sweet.
After that, we go to movement and shooting. Pretty straightforward. You move your guys a number of inches equal to their movement stat. They've got a movement stat. And you got to keep your squad together. No little guys can go wander off on their own and be like, I'm going to run a flank, guys. Kind of like you do Call of Duty or something like that. And, then they run off and either they wipe the whole team or they get team shot to pieces and then they respawn. Well, your models don't respawn. That's called play another game. So you don't get them back until the next Warhammer game. So models stay together and they keep squad coherency as they move across the board. It also makes it way easier to tell how many models are in that unit when you have to remember that this guy all the way over there is part of this unit. Once that movement phase is over, you can start shooting at targets. Each gun in the army is going to have its own stat line with its range, how many shots you can take with it, as well as how strong the shots are, what their armor piercing capability is, and how much damage they do. All of these types of stats are usually combined sometimes with special traits, like heavy weapons get more accurate if you brace them. Also, there are weapons that provide sustained fire, can get you extra hits if you happen to hit particularly accurately, so 6s explode and get you extra hits. And there's a lot of other little rules that can really give a unique flavor to the vast arsenal of sci-fi and space age weapons available to the different armies.
Well, there's also, I distinctly remember a little bit being like the rock, paper, scissors kind of thing, because there was one fight that, or one game that AJ ended up going to, and they thought someone had warned his opponent, it was in the tournament thing, that he was going to bring, I think, Tyranids?
No, I think he was, I remember this. So he was running Thousand Suns.
Right.
And Thousand Suns are basically could field a smaller number of super heavy guys, or a large horde of lightly armored guys.
Yeah, trash.
And the meta at the time was the large horde.
Right. And so that's what they thought he would bring. So
they schooled their whole army to fight large hordes.
And then he came in with these big haunting machines, and their guns couldn't shoot them.
Nope.
There was nothing he could do. There was nothing they could do. AJ just put them on the board, and the other person was like, "Good game."
Yeah.
And walked out.
Oh,
there was
no.
nothing. There was literally nothing they could do. He was just I don't know what to tell you. Good luck, idiot.
See, that was a coward. He should have played that out. He should have played that out.
Well, I think he had to because it was in the campaign.
Yeah.
But he basically, both of them knew as he took the models out of his box. He has in a giant toolbox of things. He took them out, and the other guy was like,
I have miscalculated. So, funny thing about Warhammer, if you're fighting giant monsters or tanks and you don't have any anti-tank weapons, there's nothing to do. Your little rifles are going to have a really hard time.
Makes sense.
And that's going to be represented by the strength and toughness characteristics of your guns and your target. So your typical human soldier in 40K, of which there are untold billions running about, but not so many of them are going to be on the tabletop tomorrow. They'll have a toughness of 3, right? And the standard gun they're carrying around is also a strength of 3, which means it has an even chance of wounding a human-sized target. And these rifles are reasonably effective, and your squad carries large numbers of them. So against equally sized hordes, you can provide yourself a decent amount of firepower with them. However, if a tank shows up, it can be toughness 8 or 9, and your little strength 3 gun, they change the rules so that you have a chance of wounding. They'll wound on a 6. A 6 on a d6, which is not likely to wound. So it's hard to get wounds off on tanks, and additionally, tanks tend to have fairly high armor, and these rifles do not have any armor-piercing value, which means the full amount of armor, it's rolled as a chance, usually 3 or higher, to ignore wounds. That save, that armor saving throw, basically, can be modified by armor penetration characteristics of weapons, but your bog standard rifles don't have that. So if you just bring a bunch of bog standard rifles and flamethrowers and stuff,
You're
gonna have a bad time against super heavy infantry.
Yeah. It was just hilarious. I don't know if I've ever seen, like, AJ was like walking on air. He was like,
that is a confidence booster.
He was like, oh my gosh, I'm so good. And
Came
I'm
right
like,
out of a Warhammer novel, just the horde splattered against their Terminator armor. Ineffective.
Which is funny because AJ has phenomenally bad luck rolling dice when it's like on Warhammer. And this time he didn't have to roll any dice. So like it didn't matter. And he was like, this is amazing.
Best game of Warhammer
It really
ever.
was. It was so funny. It was the best. It was awesome.
Oh man, the after action report must have been great.
Oh,
to
he
read
loved
for
it.
That one.
He wrote a novel. It was a novel. I'm sure the game was maybe one round.
Yeah.
And oh my god, he trashed them. He was like, as they stood on the decimated remains. And he like went all in on this thing, and he like hands it on to the next person. He's like, good luck.
Yeah. I have claimed this battlefield. Well,
it was awesome.
A slaughter.
A slaughter. It was a
It
slaughter.
was a slaughter.
Well, movement and shooting done with. After that comes charge and fight phase. Melee-oriented units can charge into close combat. Actually, anybody can charge into close combat, but it's not a really good idea unless you're halfway decent at melee. Charges aren't guaranteed. You have to roll those. So you're rolling 2d6 in most cases to make a charge, and that means that you could charge up to 12 inches, but it's not likely.
Yeah.
And the way the game kind of explains this away is that the tides of battle are fickle, and you running at somebody with a gun is it's risky. You might not make it there before they're able to react to you, which represents the turn being over, and then they're able to get you in the shooting phase. So what you do, bog them down with termagants. That's the charge phase in there, right? How many attacks do you have? 2 per model? Well, I have 30 termagants, and they never break. Good luck. You're going to be there for the rest of the game.
Yep.
And so they'll charge. You can charge to close combat. If you make a charge, though, you engage that unit, and then they start swinging at each other in close combat. And that's where close combat-y guys, kind of like that big old monster that we've got
The art
right
is so
up
cool.
here.
I know that art.
Like
I
so,
photoshopped it.
Yeah, the lore and the art for Warhammer is phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna ask because I know lore is a huge part of Warhammer. Is it like any fight you do canon to Warhammer? Or is it like Magic, where it's just kind of like these are just kind of fun little things that happen?
Well, so yes and no. So generally, if there are two hobbyists who are just meeting at their local game store to go play a game, right? Mm-hmm. Games Workshop has no idea what you're doing, right? It's not like Helldivers where they have like a record and they're like every fight is canon, right? It's like they have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
But Games Workshop has hosted actual tournaments, the results of which have directly affected lore in the universe.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Armageddon was an old school one. People have heard of Armageddon, the World Armageddon, which was this like legendary fight between the Imperial Guard, the Astra Militarum, which are just bog standard guys, but there's lots of them. Imperial Fist Space Marine chapter against this massive horde of orcs led by Dumpster King himself, Grazgul Thraka. He's a super orc. And the outcome of what happened on Armageddon was actually determined literally by a series of tournaments that Games Workshop
ran. That's so cool, though.
Yeah, it was super cool. And it looks like they did it in 10th edition. They had an event to determine the fate of a planet being invaded by Tyranids.
That's awesome.
They've done it before, too, with, I think, Medusa. I think it was called Medusa. They had something. I don't remember exactly what the armies were on that one. But
that's so neat.
They've done it before.
That's
and
cool.
that's what they decided to do when they decided to go blow up Warhammer Fantasy. Actually, they had a big old tournament to decide what happened.
Because I was going to say, Warhammer was a fantasy thing, and then 40K just blew up in popularity, so it became 40K.
So the funny thing about that, slight aside, so it started off Warhammer was a fantasy world, right? Like elves and dwarves and dragons and all this stuff. And then I think 40K started as a joke. It was like dwarves with like fishbowl helmets and like elves in space and all of this. And people loved it. It exploded, and
That
so like
does sound like people.
periodically.
It sounds like us.
Yeah, periodically, Games Workshop was kind of like, oh wow, we should really lean into this, and they started like making it less like cartoony and more grimdark.
Yeah.
Right.
And the Tyranids showed up. The dwarves with fishbowl helmets went away. They always said like, actually for the long time, so the dwarves were called the Squats. And for the longest time, actually, if you posted on a Games Workshop message board and you said bring back Squats, they would just ban you. It was hilarious.
Really
Oh, wow.
And so Squats were lost to time for the longest time until Games Workshop decided they wanted more money. And the Leagues of Votan came back. Totally not space dwarves, we promise. They're totally space dwarves.
Okay.
So they exist now. I know nothing about them, but they exist now. But the Tyranids, basically, that you took out the space dwarves, which were silly looking, and you replaced them with crazy eat everything alien monsters, which Blizzard Entertainment eventually intellectually distinctly created the Zerg in honor of them.
Well,
And
Colby's throwing fighting words out there.
oh yeah, look at that. Hopefully your army doesn't get squatted.
Yeah, he's throwing fighting words.
Yep.
Fighting
He's trying
words out
talking
there.
trash, man. He's talking trash. We'll have to see.
Just
We'll
like
have
a
to
presidential
see.
candidate would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, you know what? That's true.
That's true. That's true. That is very true.
Yeah. Have you seen his hive tyrant? It's got little claws. His claws are so small. It's the smallest claws I've ever seen.
People
on
said
a
it's the
hive
smallest
tyrant.
claws.
The smallest
Our
claws.
claws are huge.
Have you seen our claws? Have you seen a Space Marine's boots? Their boots are massive. The biggest, probably
You know what
the
they
biggest
say
ever.
about big boots?
It's probably the biggest boots ever. Probably, definitely here, probably everywhere.
Man, crazy that we're not political. Let's move on.
Well, charge and fight phase are resolved similarly in that once things start swinging, melee weapons have stats just like guns do, and they have special traits just like guns do. And you can go ahead and make a bunch of extra attacks. They're resisted by your target's toughness and saves and wounds, just like shooting attacks are. And you pull off models. And close combat, actually, in a close combat phase, both sides fight. So whenever there's engaged units, you take turns picking units, and they'll fight each other. So even though it can be on your opponent's turn, your guys who are engaged in combat still get to swing and fight. So once close combat happens, things can start moving quickly because there's a lot of back and forth that gets thrown around between them. That's the charge and the fight phase. And afterwards, it goes into the command phase of the next player. And the game keeps rolling. The command phase, of course, being the perfect time to test battle shock on all those units that were just done stabbing each other in the fight phase. Typical game lasts 5 rounds, although many of them are over much quicker than that, depending on how aggressive the players are.
As far as I'm aware, it takes 1, maybe 2 rounds. Well, first of all, it depends if they have got big guns. If they're a punchy kind of crew, then you have to get to the other side of the board.
Yep. Yep.
Otherwise, if it's a shooty, you kind of see who shoots better first. And then that's the game.
So 8th edition, is the last one I played significantly of, and it was very bloody.
Yeah.
It was horrendously bloody. Like you would have a shooting turn would go, and half of the opponent's army would just gone off the board.
So like you'd know by like turn 2 or 3, like you'd set up. It would take hours to set up the game. It probably not hours, but at least an hour. At least an hour to set up. You get all of your
20 minutes, maybe. 20 minutes.
You take a rolling
It's an hour
bag
dog
of the full suitcase full of models. You carefully take it out of your trunk. You roll it up the stairs into the gaming show. You set it down. You marvel over the paint job of yours and their models.
Yep.
You carefully decide which one after peeking over which models they may or may not play.
You should really build your list ahead of time. That's not cool.
You have several. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, you never know what happens. And then you painstakingly set up the board because the board probably isn't set up yet. You put up all of your little like cover and everything, and then you put models out, and you put 300 models out, and then this is like after an hour or so. Also, this is chatting, so these are people who don't get out much. So then they're like,
man, I feel attacked.
This is an enthusiast. So then they chat for like another 45 minutes, and then they start the game, and someone shoots a lot and they roll really, really well.
Then,
and
you roll to see who goes first, and the person who wins gets really happy.
Gets really happy, and then they may roll some dice, be incredibly disappointed when something doesn't happen the way they want it to, and then get slaughtered, and then they pack everything away in their cute little suitcase very carefully while pretending to be chipper and put everything away. They close their suitcase, walk vigorously outside while being very careful with their suitcase and being like, I'll see you never again, until they decide they want to fight again. Which, I mean, normally
usually is a week later.
Yeah, it's a week later. But like, as they're leaving the store, they're like, this game sucks, I'm gonna do this in the war.
Well, that's when you go on a Warhammer forum and you start talking about,
I forgot about
this stupid unit is so broken. And it's been interesting. That's true. That's true. I can feel that.
So anyways.
Sounds salty.
Speaking of which, let's talk about post-game rituals. Post-game rituals. Yep. Here's this picture, by the way. Yeah, look at that. After games concluded, victory determined. It's typical to perform. You muse on the strategy. What could have gone differently? Man, if I had moved over here, or if we'd rolled this way, that fight could have gone differently. And of course, even though one side has clearly been trounced, you have muse on it. You're like, that would have been tough. Like if I'd gone over there, and maybe I could have moved this unit back this way to try to counter that or something. Also, admiring your opponent's painting and models. That's part. It's like, man, let me see that. Oh, this is gorgeous. You look at it and you admire the thing.
And it's rude not to, because they put a lot of effort into it.
It's true, but also genuinely, what you like a lot of times, like people have some really nice looking models, and you're like, man, what did you do to get that cool paint scheme? Because don't forget, painting's part of the hobby, right? Yep. Getting a cool looking mini is a part of the hobby, and post game talks are always great. You get to look over it like, man, how did you get that effect? It's like, well, I looked up a tutorial on wet blending on YouTube, and I found this really cool guy, and we went and I tried it out, and this is the effect I got. Man, that's great. You gonna do it on all your models? No, it takes forever. And you kind of keep going like that.
I think the only reason that I have very little experience in being around post-game is because, besides the one time that AJ, the opponent, brought the wrong models, AJ is an incredibly competitive person. And when things did not go well, the whole table was just unceremoniously dumped into his little suitcase.
Oh no.
And we flew out of there.
Oh no.
Personally, I always challenge my opponents to the death.
It's rough. Oh man, no, it's true, man. We were playing that Magic game, and I wasn't sure who to attack, so I rolled it. Came up Corey, and Corey's like, "So you have chosen death."
I see you made a poor mistake.
Yeah. Well, you don't realize it yet, but I'm gonna murder the heck out of your deck right now.
And then I lost very quickly.
You did murder me though. You did get me. You did pull me down. I did, because I didn't realize we were fighting.
I was like, that's how I get you.
I was like, man, Corey's really coming after
Sneak
me.
attack.
So, of course, wrapped by turn 3 because the shop was closing.
Just talks out the rest of the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, that could definitely happen. The other thing being that if you play really large games, right, as Bryn implies, setting up all those models takes time, moving them takes time, resolving lots of dice make time. We're not playing a large game tomorrow. We are playing a small game tomorrow so that it fits in the time slot.
How many models do you think? Is it like a generally? Is it, because I know originally the boards were like 4 foot by 6 foot.
Yeah, it was 4 by 6. That's normal. It's 4 by 6.
I know those exactly because we were trying to find a table that was 4 by 6 that would fit in my house for a very long time.
Well, you know what I did is I took plywood.
That's what we were going to do.
Hinged it.
Oh, nice.
I put hinges on it, spray texture, and then when I wanted to put it on my smaller table, I actually got planks for supports to hold it up and put it down. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Boards are smaller now. They are smaller now. Okay. We're gonna play it on this big semicircular thing right here.
Yes.
I was actually, during the painting thing, I was musing on a 4th objective, and then I realized later, I don't have room for 4 objectives on this table. Another reason why we're going to only use a small board is because we don't have, we're a small army, is we don't have that big a board to play on. Oh, this table's actually pretty sizable.
It is pretty sizable.
We can get some fun little games going on this. But yeah, no, that's the boards used to be huge. 4x6 was your standard table. 4 feet by 6 feet. Yes. That's a sizable game.
Yeah.
So it was excited for some classical AJ Salt.
It's a real thing.
Yeah. Well, you know, hopefully there's something we can have fun about. Of course, none of the post-game activities are laid out in the rule book, but they are ubiquitous nonetheless. And of course, the discussions appear just like this. Let's also not forget the new models coming out. We can always discuss how broken they are, how overpowered, how underpowered, how cool the minis look, how much they are completely spitting on the lore established by previous ones. Man, I've had those discussions before.
Whether or not you're from doing the correct type of models, or if you got your model off of
I remember when the darn Tau Storm Surge came out. I'm like, what is this stupid thing? It's like a vehicle that walks. They're supposed to use battle suits, dang it. What's this multiple pilot crap? There's no respect for Tau lore put on here. They're just trying to sell a big model to idiots who like big things.
Yep.
And I was jealous because I wasn't going to put one in my army, but it was cool looking, so I wanted it. Yeah, the incredible highs and the valley-like lows, that's true. And sometimes, like, it's not just obvious as to what happens. Sometimes that you're in a nail-biting situation, like, I really hope this works out. And, you know, then you roll 6 ones, and you're like, oh no.
There's the amount of times I've heard it was guaranteed. Except for I rolled poorly. And I'm like, well, then it wasn't guaranteed, then was it? And nobody likes to hear that. I'll just have you know, I say that and it's never taken well.
Never received.
I'll tell you, when you have a 2-up to get something done right, that's when just weird things can happen. I will say one thing about Warhammer though, because of the large volume of dice you're rolling, your bell curve tends to be pretty nice. So if you are kind of a stats guy, you can the more dice you roll, the general your thing kind of evens out. But when you're rolling 2-ups and 6-ups, then weird things can happen.
Weird things happen. Yeah, that's the thing.
But tune in tomorrow.
Oh, look at this. Nice.
You know where I got that logo from?
Where?
Google.
Oh, wow.
You can find our logo on Google.
I would hope so.
Yeah, it's good.
That's pretty cool.
That's promotion.
Tune in tomorrow for a UGT 40K experience. And it's powered by your votes because we decided to roll some democracy into 40K. Now, because it's Warhammer 40K, we had to make it corrupt. Right, we had to make it corrupt. So there is some corrupt in the democracy. You can gerrymander districts. You can register the dead to vote. So we're all going to be doing that. It's going to be great. It doesn't happen in real life, of course, but in the world of 40K, that is a thing. So
are you guys going to type out after the game is ended? Are you going to type out a little short novel to post?
Well, I mean, you have to have a victory speech given by the person who wins President of Space.
Okay, Colby, I hope you're ready to lose.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
we're picking sides already.
Okay, I actually voted for Nick's army, the Space Marines, and then
I actually voted for Jill Stein. So I don't want any part of this.
I voted for Kang and Kodos.
Right. Yep. So we'll see.
Thank you. I'm very much looking forward to it. I think we're gonna have a great time.
Should be great. I'm excited.
Alrighty. Well, the high quality logos in the UGG drive. Well, you know, I was at a computer that didn't have access to the UGG drive. I'm not saying I did this at work, but I'm saying I didn't have access to it.
None of us did this at work.
Nobody was paid to do this, okay?
Yeah,
this is a passion of love.
Yeah, there's no payment to do this. I'm salaried, so it doesn't matter anyway.
Yes. Yeah,
I'm paid at any moment because I'm salaried. So I guess I'll take over. If you want to just pass the laptop to me, you can unplug it.
You sure?
She should be fine.
Okay.
Didn't explode, so we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, they can't see the screen again, so they're just looking at us as they look at me look at a screen.
Did you do something to take the screen? Oh, you've got a screen
on my phone. Wow. Yeah, it made my life a lot easier when I realized that could happen.
We are high tech around here.
All right, fellas.
I'm
Conqueror's
ready.
Haki.
I'm so ready.
What the heck is Conqueror's Haki?
Who has it? I'm glad you asked. What is Conqueror's Haki? Conqueror's Haki, or Supreme King Haki, is defined as such. At its simplest, it allows one to assert one's will over others to dominate them, causing those of inferior spirit to be intimidated or, if much weaker, to lose consciousness.
Whoa.
In other words, where there's in other cases, if you master this ability, then you can also put it into your weapon.
Are you selling a self-help book right now?
What I'm selling is a concept in a hit TV series and manga called One Piece.
Okay.
What this is if a person has strong enough will, they can force anything to happen around them. And it is commonly used by those who are the most dominant and most strong in themselves. They can make a person pass out if they choose to, or just be intimidated to an extreme case.
So they're manifesting.
Kind of.
Okay.
If you're manifesting what you want them to,
I'm gonna manifest you to death.
Like, yeah.
That's what
It can also
that
be
is.
attributed to the reason people listen to what you say and follow you. That this can either be because of positive feelings or out of fear. It can be used by somebody good trying to influence those around them, or somebody who's using fear tactics to try to put those down underneath.
So it's not because they're a jerk, it's because they have Haki.
Right.
Okay.
Well, it is because they have a strong will that lets them have this Haki. There are three types. I don't have this in slide. I don't have this in slide point, but I will explain this really quick. There are three types of Haki. There is observation Haki, which allows you to see very well. One guy is able to see seconds into the future. He can see so good.
If you had good observation Haki, you could read little pips on the dice.
Exactly. I can't read, so it's
Okay.
I'll never have that.
Okay, observation Haki, it's out.
All right.
There's armament Haki, which allows you to harden your body as if it's just made of steel. That is just to allow yourself to take any hits.
Self-manipulation.
Right.
Okay.
In Florida, we just call that having a gun.
Yeah. Imagine your hand became as strong as your gun, and then that's it.
All right.
And then there's Conqueror's Haki, which is just only the few who have the strongest will are able to wield and harness this ability.
Okay.
So, I'm going to show some examples of Conqueror's Haki. I have 3 examples with small little videos.
Okay, I'm ready.
Who has Conqueror's Haki? There are some spoilers ahead. I will say in a large thing when the spoilers are done.
This is
To the
best
end, it
ever.
only goes to the end of Fishman Island and a little bit of whole cake, but not really anything big.
These are words. Okay.
This is like what
Okay.
you were. I'm from Bryn's perspective on the 40K thing right
Yes.
now. I'm like, these are words.
These are words. And then just imagine the idea of to the end of Fisherman Island.
Fishman.
Fishman.
They are fishmen.
Fishman Island and a
Fishman,
little
there's
bit
only
of
one.
whole cake.
They are fishmen.
I see.
A little bit of whole cake,
A
guys.
little bit of whole
But not really anything.
But not really anything.
Yes.
Okay.
These are
Okay.
arcs in the series of One Piece.
But I think by themselves, without that, it's better.
Yes, I agree. So, the earliest example of Conqueror's Haki, which was made before the idea of Conqueror's Haki was made, but has been retroactively become it, is red-haired Shanks using it to save a young Luffy.
Okay.
All right.
Here's the
wow,
I
we
have
have
it
videos.
muted. I have it muted for copyright reasons.
Okay.
But this large beast has put Luffy in danger, and Shanks is out there to help
I
him.
can see. Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh.
look at that. He's
Ooh.
freaked out.
Ooh.
Wait for it. It's just about 20 seconds long, so we're almost there.
No, I can see the eyes. The eyes
I
vibrate.
see
That's the anime
attention.
eye vibration.
He's doing willpower. Willpower.
And there we go.
Oh, he's done. He's like,
That's
oh, no,
it.
I'm
And
done. I'm done.
that was a Sea King, which is a very powerful
He's got
beast
no
of the sea.
arm though.
He's got no arm. He lost his
A
arm.
sea king's a giant fish. What are you talking about?
Why didn't they
Yes,
do that
this
Is that
originally?
his name?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's also just a massive beast as well.
Okay,
He's
okay,
a lot
okay.
of it.
All right, gotcha.
So he lost his arm. That's part of the plot. This is
Okay.
literally episode 1 of One Piece. Watch the show if it's not a spoiler.
Okay, big spoilers.
Big Mom.
Oh my god.
She is
Oh
an
my
emperor
God.
of the sea.
Is she?
She is one of the 4 most powerful people in the world, and she has
Okay.
what is considered to be the strongest Conqueror's Haki. Here is an example of it. She's using it to overwhelm a nosy man, asking her a question about a frame photo she has.
Okay.
I see.
Okay, I'm looking.
Oh wow.
I think she could do that regular style. I don't think
yeah,
she needs
yeah.
the
You know,
hockey
I don't know
for
if that's hockey necessarily. Like,
If
I think
this woman came up to me and I was looking at
I'd
her
pass
photo,
out.
I'd be like, no
Yeah.
way!
Her ability is so strong that there's a moment where she kind of loses her mind a bit because that frame photo gets this is the spoilers a bit. So the frame photo gets damaged. She screams and lets out this Haki so powerful that everyone in a 2-mile radius who's not strong and willed immediately passes out. They are just KO'd. She has like the strongest Conqueror's Haki. Finally! Hello? There he is. Monkey D. Luffy.
Yup.
The future king of the pirates. He uses it to knock out 50,000 fishermen pirates.
Oh, these are the fishmen.
These are
Okay.
the fishmen.
Oh, they do look kind of fishy.
they do. Oh yeah, down they go.
This is when he has utilized and mastered Conqueror's Haki.
I see. He
And
didn't
they
even
had this whole army going against them. And it is used just this to knock out 50,000 of them, leaving only the strongest ones for them to fight left.
Okay.
That sounds like a great way to set up an awesome arc in an anime.
Listen, man. My next one will just be about One Piece in general. I love it. Listen, spoilers are done.
Okay.
Spoilers are done.
All right.
So now we are into the actual presentation itself. Who outside of One Piece has Conqueror's Haki? We've established what it is, how powerful it is.
Like any movie?
These are anything at any point.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, first up, Walter White from hit series Breaking Bad.
Okay.
I have not finished Breaking Bad. So don't spoil it.
Yeah,
no spoilers. I watched a lot of it in high school. I don't remember a lot of it. What I do remember is that I am the one who knocks speech.
Yeah.
Which is I think the pure most example of him utilizing Conqueror's Haki.
On his wife.
Yeah, on his wife. Unfortunately. I'm not, again, that's why I stress at the beginning. Yeah. You can be a bad person and have Conqueror's Haki.
Makes sense.
He took over the entire math industry. I put that there for censorship reasons.
Well done.
Okay.
Entire plot is people learning to fear him as he creates an empire through intimidation and the promise of his work. That is a guaranteed Conqueror's Haki.
Okay.
He is a beast of just intimidation and can easily make a person pass out, I fully believe.
I can say,
Example is the one who knocks speech.
I like it.
Next, John Wick.
I just watched this series and that's so true.
That's so true.
I literally just finished this series.
John Wick 4 is so good, right?
Yeah.
So good.
Well.
Okay, well, that's next week.
Wait.
He not only does he have the power to just intimidate those around him, he has the power to imbue his weapons with Haki.
Oh, true.
He's also able to survive a room full of people who oftentimes fear him and know they will lose.
Right.
Default Conqueror's Haki.
Okay.
Anyone who has Conqueror's Haki, you walk into that room, and unless you have Conqueror's Haki, you're assuming you're losing that fight. Or you're really stupid.
Wait, one second.
And you know what? They're all right.
Yes.
I know you are on a roll here right now, but you've watched all of One Piece and you draw the line at 5 seasons of Breaking Bad.
You know what, Zimmer? Amazing point. I was in high school, so I would love to go back and watch Breaking Bad, because I also think Better Call Saul looks amazing.
Oh my god.
Let me finish I have 75 episodes left of One Piece. When I finish that, I'll be done.
Okay, go on.
Okay, he's killed people with unconventional weapons and even deconstructed weapons. My example is him killing a guy with a pencil.
3 guys with a pencil.
3 guys. Well, he killed one and then the movie became 3. So he's killed 4 men with pencils.
Okay.
So that is absolutely him empowering that weapon with Conqueror's Haki.
Okay. I can see it.
I like it.
Up next, Kratos. Kratos from God of War.
True.
He's killed like so many gods. A lot of gods.
And they were gods.
That's kind of his thing.
That is his thing. He loves doing that. Yeah. He's moved into other pantheons at this point.
He ran out of Greek gods.
And now he's fighting the Norse, which is a great game.
Yeah.
Intimidates anyone that looks or talks to him. And there's no person that is happy to be talking to Kratos.
That's true.
Even his son is like, I don't want to talk to him that much.
I don't want to
he does feed me, but
it's like we're here because my mom loved you. He has several weapons, all infused with the ability to kill deities. Now, yes, they are magical. They have runes. There are spells cast on them, but he has the ability to wield those as well. I believe that is through the power of Conqueror's Haki.
Okay, perfect.
Example of him using it. This image. He's just standing there and he's scary. Okay, he's this is him looking at his son. Okay, imagine he's angry. Imagine he is angry at you.
That's Kratos' love right there.
Like that's
and it's just like,
oh, okay.
This is just him standing in a door frame. Like there doesn't even have to be.
This is literally him just coming home from work.
He just fished. He fished and he smoked some weed. And this is him coming back. Okay. Up next, Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Able to tame dragons,
right.
Even those known for killing several people.
Right.
Through his own confidence and determination, he also became the leader of the village for How to Train Your Dragons 1, 2, and 3. Example of him using it, literally training any dragon.
I'm gonna hold you right here.
Go ahead.
John Wick. Absolutely.
Sure.
Kratos. Absolutely.
Sure.
Hiccup. He has the dragon literally tied up. And then he does, he's so not confident. That's the whole point of the movie is him learning to believe in himself. But at the beginning of the movie, he's just like this twerp that has nothing. So maybe by the end of the movie, but learning to train the dragons, especially the first one, is mostly the dragon.
Let me counterpointed with
go for
One Piece itself.
Okay.
Luffy, who is now considered a master of Conqueror's Haki, did not learn Conqueror's Haki until in the anime 600 episodes in. So it is a point where you do have to learn how to utilize it. It is not an easy thing to use because you have the ability to knock people out just through your own determination, right? So you have to learn how to be confident in yourself and then learn how to use this Haki.
And I will say that, I'm not super full up on, how to train your dragon lore here, right? But I do understand that the first dragon he trains is literally named Toothless.
Yes, but he named it Toothless. It's called.
But it is toothless.
It has teeth. It looks gummy, but then he has them come out.
They're retractable.
Yes.
So he had to train up his Conqueror's Haki on a baby dragon first.
This dragon,
a teething dragon.
His name is Nightshade, and it was regarded as the untamable, most deadly dragon known. And then
the toothless dragon is the most deadly dragon known.
He's got retractable teeth. He's the fastest dragon. He has like the most powerful fire breath or something like that. He is like genuinely an actual threat. And he was able as a child to tame him.
I no longer understand how Conqueror's Haki works.
Well, this one, the dragon also, I mean, I get the...
Maybe the dragon trained Hiccup? Maybe the dragon has Conqueror's Haki.
I was thinking a little bit in the beginning, but if it's a learning curve, then over the span of the movie, he gains a lot of confidence, and then he has no problem telling dragons what's up.
Guys, I fear we're gonna have a lot more controversial ones ahead of us.
This is what we're here for.
I'm here for it.
Just to let you know.
I'm here for it.
Okay, go.
Next,
go.
Poe. From not How to Train Dragon, from Kung Fu Panda.
All right.
Through his own ways and determination, he has become the best Kung Fu master after like 90 minutes. And he just wanted like dumplings or whatever.
That's true.
He was through that. Even though people don't like him, they learn to respect him.
True.
They do learn to like him as well. His powers are unlocked literally through him believing himself. That is the ending of the first movie, is him finding a scroll that is completely empty, and he has his power. He finds the power within himself to dominate those around him.
I agree with
threats.
this one. I agree with
Example, Skadoosh. Any Skadoosh is him using Conqueror's Haki.
Yeah.
Have you seen Kung Fu Panda?
I've seen the first one, and I've seen I've seen the You Say Run Goes With Anything for all the other final fights in Kung Fu Panda. So I see.
Yes.
Okay,
This is him using Conqueror's Haki.
He used it to basically throw cannonballs.
Oh my god.
Judge Judy.
Undoubtedly, absolutely.
Okay.
No question.
Often determines if people are in the right or wrong with authority.
Like judges do.
Can command those that come to her, as well as any officer in the courtroom to do as she says.
Right.
Could take over the judicial branch if she chose to, but she hasn't yet.
Yes.
I firmly believe that, and I'm grateful she hasn't yet.
We can all be grateful that
also,
Judge Judy has spared us.
Right.
Yes.
But also look at her, look at that face. Like, she looks at that face, she does the whole, like...
A weak man would fall.
And they just faint.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true,
They see that and they're like, I'm out. Like,
So I have an example, it's another video.
Okay.
Basketball party.
I'd
like to see the hand of Dwayne. That would be you. That's who everybody's fighting over.
Whoa.
Decimated.
Whoa.
She destroyed that man in a moment by looking at him and laughing at him.
That was heartless.
Oh my
Brutal.
gosh.
Absolutely destroying
She's
him.
like making an example out of people.
That's real life Conqueror's Haki if I've ever seen it before.
She is not only shaming him, she's shaming every single person who's
Yeah,
fighting
every
for her.
single one of
Right.
you. That's actually a very anime type of
That
thing.
really
It's like,
is.
yes.
That really
this is what you've all been fighting for?
Yeah, you are all shamed just because, I mean, this is, that's awesome.
That's crazy. Yeah, no,
Absolutely.
I agree. I'm on board.
I
I'm on
agree.
board.
I'm glad you found this clip. That's pretty awesome.
I would love to move on. Okay, there we go. Winston Churchill.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see it.
Led Britain through a whole lot of war. There is a lot of war going on. He
There
did
was
it.
a lot of war. That's true.
When he wasn't prime minister, he was also in parliament. He spent in total between parliament and prime minister like 60 years in there. He was deep in it.
Okay.
Had a speech that turned the public opinion from don't go to war to bro, we have to go to war.
Yup.
Like it is like we gotta go to war, my guy.
Yep.
That is like that. If
That was
that's
pretty
not
good.
Conqueror's Haki influencing the will of the people, I don't know what is.
We will never surrender.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
That
was pretty good.
Luffy says that for sure.
That was rallying for sure.
Yep.
Example: any speech he gave at
Agreed.
any point.
Yep.
Absolutely. I agree.
Nicole Watterson.
I don't even know.
I don't know who
So
this is.
this is from a hit show that's on Cartoon Network. That was on Cartoon Network called Amazing World of Gumball. And I'm going to show examples because I know this is the one that not a lot of people know. Because I texted my friend about this, who is my age, and he was like, "Who is that?"
Okay.
So
Sweet.
she's a mother of 3.
That's a woman?
That's a woman. She's got a skirt. Mother of 3. Wife to a loving husband.
Yeah.
Known martial arts master. And anyone who wrongs her in any way only knows fear.
Okay.
She is often completely feared. Like if anyone wrongs her in any way, they are immediately scared. And if they don't know her, she will do something to make them fear her.
Okay.
I have an example, and this is the most straightforward Conqueror's Haki I've used yet.
Okay.
She can also harm people without touching them.
That's
which
pretty
is
good.
Okay.
That's trademark.
Okay.
That's trademark.
Example of her using it.
What is this art? Ah,
Wow,
there.
that's
Yep,
like
right there.
legit. That's
That's
like right
legit.
out of the show.
That's Conqueror's Haki.
yeah, yep.
That's
Yep.
it. That's Conqueror's Haki. I've never seen somebody who's more powerful.
Yep.
She is a
No, I
master of Conqueror's Haki to the point where she made his nipples fall.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
That's it.
No, I agree.
The annoying
Absolutely.
orange.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to
okay,
hear.
I might
I'm
disagree
ready
with
to
you
hear.
on this one, but
I'm ready to hear.
Unfortunately.
let's see.
I'm not
I'm
thrilled
ready.
about it.
Okay.
He often drives fruit to the brink of death.
Okay.
Seems to have some sort of control over a large knife that will always cut the fruit who is not joining in with the orange.
Right,
I
that's
don't know
true.
enough. I just thought this was an orange with a face that's saying sometimes.
Oh, no,
Example
no.
of him is the first episode.
That's true.
There's an episode?
There are many
There was
episodes.
a television show.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I know
thought
the
this was
television
just
show,
like
but
a meme
It's
somewhere.
still active. It's still actively going as well to this day.
Oh
Learned
my-
that last week.
Oh my god.
Yes. So he,
Huh.
anytime a new fruit shows up, he is going to annoy them. Thus is his name. And he will
Okay.
talk and talk and talk to the point where they are begging him to shut up or go die. And at that moment, every time, is when that person will die.
A knife shows up or a blender shows up.
Yes,
or...
some
Gotcha.
hand will always
Gotcha.
come down and
Gotcha.
destroy that fruit.
Okay.
Seemingly, the annoying orange, once he starts getting a little bit hurt from that thing, from whatever that fruit is doing it to him, they die.
Okay.
If that is Conqueror's Haki, I can think of.
The,
Like that-
the annoying orange is literally the definition of he can dish it out, but he can't take it.
Right.
So he just murders you.
Yes, and he wills that person to die. like that is pretty cut forward for me.
I honestly thought that this was a like a music video thing, and that was it.
You thought he was in a music video? No.
Yeah, like I didn't realize it was an entire thing.
It was a whole thing. It had a show on Cartoon Network for one season that was very bad. And it's still actively going. It has like a Roblox gameplay channel now too, for some reason. So,
Huh.
you know, Dambo, get your bag. Proud of you.
You know what? There you go. Right.
Joseph Stalin.
Okay.
Yeah. fair.
Unfortunately. Read a book.
Right.
I don't really want to go into detail. I just wanted to,
Right,
I just
right.
felt like it might come up, and I just wanted to get it out of the way really quick.
I mean, he did win the epic rap battles of history.
Right.
Russian
And
edition.
also, anybody who wins that also has Conqueror's
Yeah,
Haki.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
true.
don't want to go. We'll move on. We'll move on. Okay, we're moving on.
Okay.
Barbie
Okay. The doll.
has bent the world to reflect what she desires.
Okay.
There is no crime because who could defy her? I haven't seen the Barbie movie, but I assume she kills Ken at the end for saying something she didn't like that much.
My understanding of the Barbie movie is she puts down a slave revolt and puts the Kens back in their place. So that fits, actually.
is also straight up what Luffy does.
Yeah.
and guess who has Conqueror's Haki? Is the future king of the pirates, Monkey D. Luffy. So
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Barbie has Conqueror's Haki. Please don't show clips.
Well, I'd probably copyright the heck out of everything.
Yeah,
That's
probably.
yeah.
Yeah, no, we can't. They live in Barbie Land.
Yeah.
I mean, it just feels like
Yeah.
they name a place
Right.
after you.
You know, well, actually, maybe it's not like Barbie Land is just named after her. Maybe she literally willed it into existence.
might.
It's possible. Like it's totally possible.
It's like
Yeah.
that crazy psychic kid from the Twilight Zone episode who
Right.
just crafts his own reality.
Yep.
There is a whole element of the will of D that we're not even going to get into. But Barbie could possibly have that as well. That is a whole other thing that's a hockey-like
Yeah, the will of
force.
D does not sound something that's show appropriate.
Yeah, it
but I
doesn't.
It's actually extremely fine, but it is just another way of getting your getting your will across on people.
Okay.
Snooki.
Wow, when was the last
Snooki?
time you saw
Name a
Snooki?
person from the mid 2000s as feared and loathed as her.
You know, she was the what was the name of that reality show?
Yeah, I don't know. But
Jersey Shore.
Thank you. Yes, I know who she is.
I've seen her before.
Met her like in person?
No.
Oh,
I mean,
you
I've
just
seen a
recognize
picture of her.
Okay.
I've seen a picture of her before.
She in the 2000s, she was feared and loathed, dominated TV stations, tabloids, and the minds of all Americans.
Okay.
Not to be trifled with.
Mm-hmm.
Example of her using it, I still remember her, and she was popular when I was like 11, and I only cared about Beyblades and Pokemon at that point.
Yeah, I do kind of remember her.
She has really just kind of cemented herself in.
So this one is very similar to the grandma in the first clips that we were showing. It's like if she were to come out from behind a aisle in Publix exactly like this, I'd be like, yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. I'm so sorry. I did not mean to.
Yeah, I'll be just avoiding that
Oh
dilemma.
my God,
Yeah, this dilemma is going to happen, and I'm going to go around, please.
In Snooki's defense, I saw her recently on a TikTok, and she got she's glowed up a lot, and she's just kind of become a very loving mother. So she has had a nice little arc there.
Maturity does some crazy
Well,
things.
she sounds like she's turning into the mom from the Gumball show.
Yeah, maybe.
Looks like
Maybe.
a normal mom, and then you don't
Turns around at the
understand.
grocery store, and I just
This intimidation wave.
Yeah.
Finally, our last one, Corey Roof. Now hear me out.
I was gonna
This
say
is our most controversial one.
I was gonna say Megamind. I don't understand.
This is a controversial one, and I recognize that.
Okay.
I have gotten most
wait,
people.
Wait,
No,
wait,
we'll go back. We'll go back.
Okay, first of all, I agree with this.
Thank you. I needed
Because I have mentioned several times that it is a good thing. You do not use your persuasive powers for evil. Besides magic, which
Yes.
I think is evil. But
So a lot of parents.
But if you really were into something bad, you would absolutely have the entire group into it, because it all started with the whip.
I did, yeah. I got us all with it.
From then on, he felt it in his bones that he could, in fact, persuade anybody in our friend group to do anything.
Corey, I'd like to teach you Warhammer 40K.
No, if there's too much math, I get scared. So I won't.
You play Starfinder.
I know, but I also don't like
Starfinder.
painting minis. I don't like doing tedious little things, and that's what that hobby is.
That's fair.
I don't like that.
That's fair.
And there's a point where I just get like a tingling down my spine that's bad. And I don't like
Okay,
it.
go on.
So, I have gotten most people that I know to have at least tried anything I care about. Godzilla,
Whipping.
a lot of
Magic
Magic
the Gathering.
Gathering, eventually One Piece when the new series comes out. That's
Never
not 1,000
in a
episodes.
million years.
They're making a series of One Piece that is 26 episodes a season, and then they're doing the arcs that way. So they're redoing One Piece, but shorter, so you don't have to watch 1,000 episodes like I did.
If they come out with an abridged series, I might watch that.
There probably has
Me
one
too.
that's been probably nuked off the internet.
Yeah, probably.
I have named nearly every show on UGT. There is 3 that I have
And
not
UGT.
named.
And
I
UGT.
named also UGT.
Yeah.
So I through my own willpower, I've named 80% of this company. So,
Very true.
just want to feel that out. Every coworker I've ever had liked me, except one specific guy who was racist, and I called him out immediately.
And he died?
He said he did die. He said he almost died. He said the N-word. He called some people of color walked in, and he called them the N-word. And then I immediately went and told every single person I work with, "Yo, Justin said the N-word yesterday." And they went, "Really?" And I went, "Look at him. Do I look like I would lie about that?" and I was not lying, and they were right. So-
And he died. There you go.
and he died. That guy hated me. But it's
I
like,
can
hey man,
imagine.
don't be racist. It's cool. It's easy.
I like it. Okay.
So, examples. A guy in a bar backed down from me once when he almost got in a fight with me. He was flirting with my girlfriend at the time, and I went up and he kept doing it. He kept doing it while looking at me, and then I squared up with him immediately. He went, "I'm so sorry, man, my bad," and then he walked away.
Wow. Okay.
Nicely done. That was good. That was
So-
good hockey.
Good.
That was
That's
me
good.
using my Conqueror's Haki I didn't know I had yet, just
Yeah.
like Hiccup did.
Then you felt it, and you felt it. You knew you had the potential, and so you started practicing on your innocent friend.
I have to build it up. I'm working my way up to a revolution.
The very soft, moldable friends that he has.
So when you
He's
were glaring at me before, you were really just hoping I'd keel over.
He was looking with his eye. He's really trying to
It's like,
practice.
you're gonna collapse now. I can feel it.
Yep.
I did name you Soul.
It's like a little blood just comes out of my nose. I'm like, oh, that's so weird. What's that all about?
Exactly.
There were more examples I wanted to show of Conqueror's Haki in the anime, but it was just too much. It becomes at some point the Dragon Ball Z of just auras, and then they just kind of punch each other, and I was
Okay.
like, that's not quite the vibe I want to
Yeah,
go
it's not
for
the vibe.
this.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Okay, so I was a little lost at the beginning,
Sure,
but
we can go back if we need.
that was a phenomenal presentation.
That was really good. I like that. That was quality.
I
Thank
don't
you.
know what I was expecting. Gory did not give us any warning.
No.
None of us gave anybody else, well, except for good Nick. We kind of assumed what Nick was going to show about. But That I was not expecting that. That was very good. What a good presentation.
Thank you.
Excellent work. Excellent work. I say.
I will switch it over to your presentation.
I'm glad
now.
that it was varied.
I'll be right back because our team viewer thing disconnected, so I need to reconnect it. But
okay.
Give me 1 moment.
You get like a double dose of someone walking off screen to go to fiddle with the computer in this episode.
Yes. In fact, we do this almost every stream on Tuesdays because it's very difficult to run a stream without a stream runner.
Has its complications.
It does. We actually do a pretty good. We do pretty okay. We have survived thus far, and now that we have these fancy stream decks on our phone. That's pretty fancy.
That is pretty dang fancy, I have to say.
Stream deck's kind of a cool kind of invention, or whatever it is.
It's like a wireless keyboard that goes through the internet.
Yeah. That sounds very basic, but it's surprisingly useful.
It's surprisingly
useful. Are you guys gonna have, by the way, for the stream tomorrow? Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Are you guys gonna have like all the who's providing not the board and the stuff that's on the board?
Oh, me.
What's the stuff called?
Terrain.
Terrain.
I
was like, what is that called?
Yeah, Joanne Fabrics got bought by venture capital and they're selling it off for profit. So I went and bought some stuff.
There you go. It's not on screen yet, but
it's not on screen
also
yet.
Just of note, the chat is very far behind us. It looked like we were lagging for a little while in the middle there. I don't know if it keeps going, but if we don't respond to you in chat, sorry.
Okay.
Just
sweet.
Just a little show programming note. All right, now they see what you see.
Okay, so what do I do for a living? It does, in fact, involve horses. I thought everybody would know that by now, and most people do. But I do things that involve horses, and I will explain to you what I do because it's actually kind of random and a lot of people don't know what I do.
And it's kind of cool, honestly.
It's kind of cool. It's like very niche, and a lot of people, it's not exactly the regular thing that people do. Do I go right? Haha! Okay. What is show jumping?
Very good start.
Right? Yeah. Like, think parkour. You have, like, people screaming it out as they go around. Not really, but we're trying to ride horses around and we jump jumps and, we're supposed to jump jumps in a specific order. And we're all doing the same course. There's normally, like, 30 or 40 people in a class. The classes are different heights. Some are, like, little baby classes for little baby people who are just learning. And some are really big and they're, like, Olympic-sized jumps. Which ends up being around 5 foot. 5 foot's generally, maybe like 5 foot. I mean, maybe a little bit taller than that. Like the Olympics would maybe be like 5'6", but generally around that.
One nick.
Whoa, height drop.
Yeah. That's really why. Okay, we're in a very short stream right now. Normally our streams.
Short stream.
Well, let's go. Let's go.
Normally we have very, very tall people on here. Anyway, so the idea is that you don't want to knock stuff down, you want to do it fast, and you don't want to die. This is, the main point is that you don't want to fall off. Falling off's bad. You don't want to knock rails down. Each of the jumps has, like, rails. They're, like, wooden poles. And if you knock the rail, then the rail falls down, and you get a fault.
Kind of like pole vaulting. They have rails that you can knock down.
Yes. Similar to that. You don't want to go off course. Everybody has to do the same course. If you do the wrong course, you're disqualified. What I do is based off of time. So you want to go faster than everybody else while still not knocking anything down. And then you just do that a lot of times. And that's the whole sport. Very exciting. How you lose? I guess we already went over this. So you fall off and you die.
Horse throws a tantrum.
Yeah, then you have to turn into emotional support, or you have to threaten them with death to improve morale.
You have to have Conqueror's Haki to actually.
That's true, actually.
Yeah, a little bit. When you were saying that, I'm like, that's what we do. It's a little bit.
All horse riders have Conqueror's Haki.
Yeah, a little bit. It's a little bit. That's how it kind of goes.
You have to beat your horse's hockey, otherwise the horse is the one that knocks you out.
Yeah, it works.
You have to have a clash.
It works like that.
Split the heavens.
It is. It's kind of a wild time, I would say. We do. Besides that, I also train. So I train the horses and I train the riders. But for training the horses, they normally have the head frame or the mentality of like a 2 or 3 year old kid, which is younger than dogs. So dogs are a little bit older. They're like 4 to 5 year old. Like they're actually pretty smart.
Mm-hmm.
Horses are not that. They are also prey animals. So where dogs you can train for them to be interested in something. So you have a ball or something or a treat that they want. Horses are prey animals, so the more you annoy them, the more they want to avoid what you're doing. And so you just annoy them a lot. Until they do what you want them to do, and then you stop bothering them. And then they're like, oh my gosh, that's phenomenal. Please, they stopped annoying me. And then they'll just do that again next time you start annoying them. So they're very avoidant creatures. It's great. You have to do that over and over and over again. And then once they realize that once they do the nice thing and it's fun, they'll actually build trust. And when you annoy them to do something, they'll just follow your lead. They're like, actually, every time I do something she says, it's actually okay. So you have to do a lot of trust, a lot of confidence. They have to, you know.
Trust follow a horse.
Yeah, basically. It's a fun time.
So Link asks, what do you do if a horse just goes, you know what, even though I saw those jumps 15 minutes ago, I've now decided to be deathly afraid of them?
Well, you either have to become an emotional support person, or you have to show them the fear of God. There are two options. There are two options there.
Fair enough.
And hopefully, if over time, like, I mean, this is so slow. It takes years. It takes years to do this. But building trust in you is like everything. If you say, like, we're gonna go over there, and they balk at something, they don't have enough trust. Like, it has to be blind. The best horses are the ones that are just blindly, you've never lied to them, they've never gotten into a bad situation. Every time you have told them to something to do, you've been right. Then they have their herd dynamics. So you are the alpha horse over here.
Yeah.
I've always said that about you.
Yeah, right? Yeah. It's a fun thing. Then they will blindly trust what you say, and then you can go into war, or you can go jump big jumps, or whatever you want to do. But it takes forever to get a horse to blindly trust someone. And that is generally the point of training things. So yeah, you have to turn a prey animal into something brave, which is kind of a tough. Will choke slamming my horse break the trust I've been building, or should I stick with stone cold stunners?
Great question.
Okay, so there is a line, the herd dynamics. I don't know if you've ever seen horses in the wild, but they are like not the softest, most gentlest creatures.
Yeah.
So there is a point in time where you have to correct bad habits before the horses learn they don't actually have to do what you say.
Before they realize they're literally 20 times your size.
Right. Once they learn
muscle.
once they learn that you are actually teeny tiny compared to them, and they can just do whatever they want all the time, and you couldn't say anything about it. You do have to put a little bit of fear. Like, there's got to be something that it doesn't even have to be, like, normally it's just something that's a little surprising where they get caught off guard. It's not normally, like, we don't, like, beat them to death or anything. Like, it's not normally painful. Normally we just try and get them into a situation where we can win as riders. So we'll we'll try and change the fight. This is getting way too detailed. But let's say they don't want to do something. I'll ask them to do something else that's similar but much easier. So, and if they do it, I've won that fight. Because they've still done what I've asked for, even if it wasn't the original what I asked them to do.
Gotcha.
But it's similar enough that I'm still leading. And they still said yes.
You keep frame, basically.
Yeah, exactly. The framework is still there. It still works out. Okay, then we train the riders. So I have lots of clients, and the clients ride the horses. So I teach the riders not to ride like potatoes and give bad signals, because the horses are still learning. So the rider gives a bad signal, and the horse learns from that. Then I have to go and fix the horse. And then I teach the rider again, and I tell them that it's okay to make mistakes, and I'll fix the horse. And then I'm a therapist for the rider, because the rider thinks they're terrible and everything is horrible.
Can you choke slam the rider?
How many stone cold stunners have you done on a rider?
Well, much less than I would wish, honestly. It's a real problem. But I have to be a therapist for the rider because they lose their self-confidence, and honestly, it is a very hard sport. And normally, money wins. So, like, if you get a nice horse that someone spent a lot of time training and it just has better quality, it has really good breeding, you might lose anyways because someone else has a nicer horse. So it's kind of tough. And then you have to be a therapist for the parents who are spending like $1 billion every month on their rider, on their kid that they put a lot of effort into, and the kid just kind of sucks. And the family of everybody everywhere who likes to nose in everything. And then I have to go fix the horse again because normally everything's falling apart. And it just works better if the horse is doing its thing. Okay, so I train, but they are athletes. So everything is like fitness-based. We have to do a lot of like endurance. We have to do a lot of like fitness things. So just getting stronger, all that stuff. I work outside in the Florida summer, so it's not always super fun. It's kind of sucks in the summer. In the winter, it's great. I don't like cold weather. I don't like hot weather. So I mean,
fall and
it's
spring
great.
rule.
Yeah.
Which are 2 weeks
right
long
now.
each.
Yeah, right now it is great. It is great. But it doesn't get boring because things are always going wrong all the time.
Job security.
Job security. When I'm writing, we're competing at a high level, and we are all about strategy and speed, and we're like trying to be the best of the best. When I'm training, it's not so glamorous. Mostly, I'm just exactly trying to convince a 1,500-pound animal to listen to the rider who has no idea what it's doing, and I have to keep the horse. Basically, the whole challenge is to keep the horse, first of all, trusting the rider when the rider consistently makes bad decisions. And convince the rider that they have to tell the horse which decision, even if they don't think it's right. You have to tell them a decision and pretend that it was the right decision, even if you know it wasn't, because the horse has to believe it. So, like, it's all about bluffing.
You have
as
to
a
believe
rider.
in yourself to make have the horse believe you.
And even if you don't believe in yourself, you have to make the horse think you're believing in yourself.
Huh.
And so that is what I do.
There's a lot of self-respect in the.
And you really have to, and it's not. There's actually people want to have their kids go into show jumping because it's like this elite sport, and you get this ticket into like you're in the right crew now. You have like all these people have a ton of money, and it's basically your ticket into like big people.
Yeah.
But it's also really, really good for developing people who just fake it till they make it, which sounds bad on paper, but that's how moving up in the world works.
Yeah.
You have to make other people believe that you can do your job. And this is like the basic layer of doing that when you're growing up, because
Get down there, imposter syndrome. Get out.
it is literally that. Like, you have to be able to convince someone else that you know what you're doing, even if you know you don't, which a lot of the writers do. They're like, I don't know what I'm doing. Anybody else could get on this horse and do a better job than me, but I still have to convince the horse that I'm doing a good job. So anyway, that's literally all of your jumping.
That's it. Wow, I really brought a lot more.
Nope, that's it. That's the whole sport. Like, that's all I do.
Be confident in yourself and make your horse believe you.
Yep.
Gaslight your horse.
Yeah, a little bit. You just have to be, I mean, but it's remarkably applicable to everything else.
Interesting.
So it is kind of a ticket into like the elite society, but it is also not terrible for your daughter to learn or your son to learn how to force themselves to like
Develop their conquerors Haki.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Like,
Exactly.
Teach them conquerors hockey.
Yeah.
My God,
Exactly.
these presentations just lead one right into the other,
It's
and then I
crazy.
had a 40K one. That didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
But, yeah. It's just-
It's okay. We made callbacks to it during mine.
There you
So
go.
It works.
Right. So anyway, so that's what I do. I end up doing, I have like 8 horses, and it works out pretty well. Anything over that is going to be a lot, so. But yeah, that's what I do. That's
All
what
right.
show jumping.
Now we all know what Bryn does.
That's so
Yes.
cool.
She
and
lies
this is-
to horses.
I do lie to horses, and it works. So, next time you have a horse, just pretend you know what you're doing.
Just lie to it.
It really works so well, though. Anyway, this is at WEC, the World Equestrian Center in Ocala, which is a really, really phenomenal facility.
Horse
And-
Disney World, basically.
Yeah, and we actually show there all the time. So I will be getting, at some point, I'm going to be getting a new horse that can do these kind of jumps, which are this is like one step below Olympics. So we will be showing at some point. And
Comes up to about here. Not here.
Yeah, this is like 4 foot. This is like 4'6".
Okay, well that's
I
like
was,
down
I
here.
was gonna ask. So is Olympic like the bar is higher, or they're like further apart? Like,
It's both.
Okay.
It's like, I actually have no idea in feet how high these are because we count it exclusively in meters. So I've never considered looking at what the height is actually. This is just me randomly guessing. This is 1.55 m. When the Olympics are like 1.65 1.70 m.
Huh.
And
So it's not
then-
even like meters, it's like some separate measurement of
It's
something.
1 meter and 55 centimeters.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay, I got you.
And then 1
What a
meter.
specific
meter
number.
55. I see. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's how we do it. And which is why I have no idea how high we're jumping. And I just assume it's around that height. I don't know how high that is. It's 1.55 meters. And the height will be 1.55 meters, and normally the width is a little bit more. Depending on the type of jump there is, some of the jumps are like really huge. I don't know. There's a couple, a couple times a year, there's like $1 million pre. These have huge purses, by the way. The bigger the jumps get, the bigger the purses. The $1 million classes, the jumps will be, the widest is like 9 foot.
Wow.
And they get really big jumps.
What are the purses? What do you mean by purses?
Just the prize money that you win.
Okay.
The prize money that win the class. The bigger the jumps are, normally the bigger the prize money, but sometimes not. Sometimes they'll have specialty classes, which only a certain... we get lost in the details really fast. Once I start it'll be like only a certain age group of person can go do that class, and then it'll be a special class. Sometimes those have really high prize money, but the biggest ones are, the most prize money is normally the higher the jump is.
Gotcha.
And they only have a couple $1 million classes in the US. Once you go to... There's a couple in Canada that are like $3 million.
Wow.
And then in Europe, they've got some really big classes. Because Europe is where all of our horses come from. All of the breeding lines are in Europe. Because they've had horses forever.
Yeah.
And they've been breeding them down forever and ever and ever. So they're trying to breed them here in the US. But it's just... They don't have any regulations in the US. And in Europe, if you want to breed, you have to get approved for breeding.
Oh, wow.
And they have to approve the breeding lines. They don't want inbred horses.
Huh.
So
nice.
It is incredibly strict on breeding over in Europe, and they will give a suggested breeding line. If you have a mare or something and you're like, oh, I want to breed this mare, they'll give you a suggested line or like array of stallions that you can breed the mare to that would fit.
And no other ones.
And no other ones.
Yeah.
You can't go to the other ones. So it's really, it's very strict, but they do a great job.
But you get really good horses out
really
of
good
it.
horses.
Yeah.
And we get all of our horses, like this horse in the picture is from Europe. All of my horses are from Europe. I don't think I have any horses at my barn that aren't imported from Europe. Because the quality is just so much better there.
Interesting.
So... They have a monopoly. I don't know what to tell you. And everybody buys their horses from Europe. That's the entire horse industry. Even like Saudi. Another interesting point about it. This is a problem. I get way on a tangent.
This is what we're here for.
It's great.
Okay. So, horses are incredibly expensive. Very, very expensive. But to get into... The reason they're expensive is because when you get into the Olympics, you say you want to go to the Olympics, you're like, I want my son to go to the Olympics for Saudi Arabia next week. All you have to do is buy a horse that can do it. And then stick your son on this horse and be like, can you ride this horse? And they're like, maybe. But if the horse is really well trained, then hopefully.
Yeah.
And if you want to get the best horse, well, they're not going to sell it to you because they also want to go to the Olympics. They're like, I would like to go to the Olympics this year. And